information. Let me just make one thing, which I want to share with all of you. I am a educator, and likewise, like all of you, I am also an academician. I have spent about 30 years now. I have been in the field of hospitality and tourism, and of which maybe the last 18, 20 years in teaching. I have been, learning throughout my career, and today also I hope I will take something back from this session where so many educators who are there as participants. I want that this should not be a one-way session. Please feel free to interact. Maybe not during the session. You can use the chat box and share points wherever I request you to. And at the end of the session, I will be definitely open to take up questions and points for your uh, clarifications or for some more information for myself so that I also learn and grow. So thank you very much, all the participants, for joining me. Let us start this session. This session is mainly on the teaching pedagogy and, what is its impact, why is it important, or what is the purpose of knowing a pedagogy before you become a good academician or a teacher. So the objectives of this session are clearly mentioned on this slide. At the end of this session, all the participants who I say are learners will be able to describe various terms and concepts of teaching. What are the different ways of teaching? What are the different concepts and methods? What is the science behind that? What do you mean by teaching pedagogy? What is its significance? You will also be able to discuss on the learning styles and various strategies of teaching. You will certainly be able to practice some of the approaches of teaching pedagogy, which you can, try out in your own classroom. And you will always be able to elaborate on the teaching learning methodologies that we are going to discuss in this session. So this session will help you to, plan your classroom sessions in a way that is suiting the current day generation, where you can achieve your objectives, which is transfer of knowledge. So if you understand, or if you want me to sum up the objectives, what is this session all about? It is mentioned. Next slide, ma'am. Yeah. So advanced teaching pedagogy refers to innovative and strategic approaches to teaching that go beyond the traditional methods. Traditional methods, which we have seen over the last maybe 20 years back, and in still some places it is there, where a teacher comes to the class, he has a blackboard or a whiteboard, and he delivers a lecture. It's mostly what the teacher speaks and the student listen. Today's learning methodology is devoid of, or it has transformed from this traditional system. Today it is dependent on the learner. So there is a lot of use of technology, diverse teaching methodologies. You use multiple different styles of teaching. It's not just a one-way communication like a lecture. We use group discussions, we use role plays, we use motivations, we use theme based learning, we use virtual reality, we use augmented reality, and so many other things. We have a split classroom, where we split the classroom into groups and we have projects. So there is a concept called learning by doing, and these are all different diverse methods which is included in the teaching system today, where the focus is not on the trainer but on the learner. The student is the prime focus, and the method the student is comfortable with, we have to try and incorporate at least one or some of those methods. So the training or the teaching in the classroom is more learner centered. It is dependent on the learning strategies or methodology of the student. So we emphasize on developing critical thinking. We do not just want the students to learn and remember things. We want them to apply. We want them to evaluate. We want them to create new knowledge. So when we are looking at this is what we call as developing critical thinking. Problem solving skills. Students should be able to apply the theory in practice, solve problems. So there should be a conducive learning environment where a student feels comfortable in speaking to the trainer as well as sharing his thoughts and doubts. So when there is a sharing of information, the trainer also gathers some knowledge. So this is what is the major difference between the traditional learning systems and the modern learning pedagogy or the modern learning methods. So the effective teaching pedagogy will foster both individual and social processes, and it will also shape the outcomes. Can we? Yeah. So as I said, I have clearly shared with you what are the objectives of this session. Now there is some interest part here. I want you all to look at this slide where it has got three pictures, and there is a question. So I want all the participants to put what they understand by this picture in the chat box. So participants, please take a minute or so, study this picture, and please put whatever you understand by the three pictures here, you can put in the chat box. Madam, the chat box is available to participants, I hope.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So all the participants kindly, look at the picture, the three pictures which is shared on the screen, and whatever comes to your mind on this picture related to the question, you can write on the chat box. Kindly please start writing. I have still not got a single response. Yeah, Department of Home Science. Yes, Dr. Revati, you have shared your details, but I want to understand what you see in this slide. What do you understand by this slide? Interesting and attractive. Okay. Anybody else? I would be happy to receive at least 4 or 5 responses. So far, I have just got 2 responses, and anybody else wants to share something? Yes, creative. Thank you, Priyanka. Okay, I think we'll move on because the time for this session is also fixed. The picture demonstrates itself. Cognition. Okay, fine. Uh, Expressive. Very good. Now I am getting quite a few responses. Good. Thank you so much for the participants, who have taken the initiative to respond. Yeah. Let me explain the slide. The slide has three pictures. The first is that of a baby. The second is a painting. And the third is a picture which shows scientific experiments and other things that is there. So this actually translates into the art and science of teaching. And pedagogy is actually meaning teaching a child. When we teach adults, we call it as andragogy, or it's an adult learning. But pedagogy actually stands for the art and science of teaching a child. Why is it an art and science? Because you know, having the knowledge and the idea of the theories is your ability. It's your science, but the ability to share it so that the child can understand is definitely an art. So this slide stands for, yes, the art and science of teaching. I am still getting some responses. Yes, thank you, Kirti and Nitin. So interestingly, there is a very good definition which I have written here, which is given by the Tutoring Standards Company, which says that a tutor must elicit response that demonstrates understanding. So as long as you cannot get a response from your learner which demonstrates that they have understood your thoughts or your points, the pedagogy is not complete. So it still remains barren or incomplete. So you must look at, electing a response from the audience which indicates that they have understood. Next slide, ma'am. Yeah. Now again, I have a small question for all of you here. So on the right side, there is a picture. That picture is self-explanatory. You can see that, the words teach. When you see the reflection, it reflects as learn. So it's a very interesting picture there. But my question is here, we all have gone through classrooms where we have sat in classrooms and we have listened to numerous teachers right from our early school days till our college or university. So here the question is, do you remember any teacher in your life who has inspired you? If yes, when you have seen that teacher, you have felt, I want to be like this lady or like this person, then please put his or her name in the chat box with a small, input on what is it that inspired you about that particular person. Again, I am giving you 2 or 3 minutes. Please, the participants, go ahead and answer this. Any teacher who has inspired you and why? After this session is over, you can put my name also. Right now, please don't put my name. Your PG teacher, Crazy Boys. Yeah. So what was it that inspired you? Many of you have started putting, but just add a little bit, what exactly inspired you about that teacher? Okay. I'm getting a lot of names, but no reasons. Okay. Mr. Dr. Srinath mentions his biology teacher. Again, I am still getting names. Yes, was able to keep the rapt attention. Okay. The ability to hold the focus of the audience, that is one very interesting point. Yes. He made maths very easy and understandable. Excellent. He made inspired by the way he handled sums. Okay. Got inspiration for learning economics, friendly nature, Somebody made Miss Alka Chawla, she made me aware of my capabilities. Excellent. So that is an ability of a teacher to, uh, help you to find out your strengths and weaknesses. Very good. International relations subject. So, okay, I get it that most of you have got a lot of points here. Somebody mentions, yeah, Dr. Srinath mentions that making the concept of biology as a story. So, storytelling. Yes, we are all more, attracted with storytelling. Excellent. Ma'am, can you move to the next slide? Yeah. So, as I said, a good teacher will have the art of correctly putting the theories into practice and building up the teaching experience. And the knowledge of this is the science. The instructional strategies is the science behind this art. So, what is pedagogy for teaching? It refers to how educators teach in practice, what they do to, transfer the knowledge, what kind of teaching methods they use, what kind of teaching beliefs they have, and how does it transform into the interplay when between the culture and the different methods of teaching that is put into use. Because there is a diverse background of students, and the culture, the teaching beliefs, the practices of the teacher also comes into the forefront. Next. Okay. So this is again a very beautiful slide. Now first I'll read the right side. A teacher is not a person who gives or delivers the truth. He's just a guide, a pointer to the truth that each student must find for himself or herself. What does this actually mean? Now let us look at the left part. An average teacher, which is very commonly found, will talk about his knowledge and will explain the subject. A good one will give, some examples and make the subject a little easier to understand. A superior teacher will demonstrate. He will share his experiences, and he will give you stories, inputs, visuals, and other activities which will make the session interesting and which will attract or keep you focused. But the best teacher is one who inspires you. When if you ever think that this is a teacher whose class I will never miss, even I am sick, even I am in severe pain, I can forget everything, but I have session. That is the teacher who has inspired you, and that is the kind of teacher we all want to be. So whether we shall be in that level or not depends on how well we understand the students or the learners, and how well we adapt to make the learning interesting for the student. We should not you know keep the students in class by fear or force. It should be by interest, by passion. So if you can generate interest from the student, and that is only possible if you show or demonstrate passion for the subject, then you will have a focused audience and you will be a inspirational teacher. Next, let us understand what is the need for pedagogy. So we have understood what is the objective of this session. We have seen some of the interesting points regarding this session. Now we are trying to understand the need. What is the need for pedagogy? So you see some of the points which is mentioned there. The classroom sessions will improve. There will be better, discussions happening. There will be interaction. Student will be engaged. They will ask questions. They will participate. They will come out with their ideas. The knowledge will be imparted in a very good manner, and the atmosphere of the classroom will be a atmosphere where knowledge transfer can occur, and even students will move from the lower cognitive skills, which is as per Bloom's technology taxonomy, the basic skills like hearing, remembering, understanding. These are all lower order skills. They will be able to move from these skills to the higher order, the middle and the higher order. Middle order is of application and analyzing, and the higher order skills is of evaluating and creating. So when you can guide the students from remembering and understanding to the next level, that is applying and analyzing, to the higher level, that is evaluating and creating. If you can take the students progressively to the highest levels, you will be an inspirational teacher. Next slide, please. This is continuation of the earlier, the point which we were discussing, the need for pedagogy. Here again, I have put classrooms will be participative, where it will not be a one-way delivery. Students will involve, they will ask questions, they will share their thoughts. So hence the learning outcomes will be better. There will be more engagement because students will participate. The creation of knowledge can happen because we are not just disseminating knowledge, we are also moving students from lower order thinking to critical thinking, which will end in satisfaction. As a teacher, if you have been able to inspire your students, you will be satisfied by the kind of knowledge and the ability they will demonstrate. And as a student, they will be satisfied because they have actually got what they came in the first place to achieve. That is knowledge. Next slide. So what does a thoughtfully developed pedagogy do? It improves the quality of teaching. You will find that your classes will be more, interactive when the student starts talking to you, when they participate. As a teacher, you will feel more interested. You will start taking more time to prepare for the class. So the level of the class will be high. You can address different learning styles and abilities. You can also help the students to develop deeper understanding of the subject, and they will be able to be part of the entire learning process, not just as a participant in the class. The students will be a part of the learning process, and the learning outcomes will be achieved. So if you are teaching, no matter what subject, what course you are teaching, if you incorporate the right pedagogy, then you will find that the outcome of the classes will be much better. We will see more in the following slides. Next, ma'am. So why do you actually need a correct pedagogical approach? Let us look at it. There are students who have special needs, who are not from the mainstream. Maybe they are coming from minorities, they are coming from different language and culture. So they have been used to learning in a different way, and today they are facing a different kind of a learning environment. So if you have a multiple learning environment where you blend different methods, the sessions will become easily acceptable by a bulk of the students. So they will develop higher level cognitive skills, which I have already mentioned, like analyzing, synthesizing, evaluating, and creating. And as it is mentioned there, knowing, understanding, and application are lower to middle level cognitive skills as per the Bloom's taxonomy. So in this whole process, we have to understand one more thing which is very important. As teachers, as educators, we must ensure that we are free from bias. Personally, when I evaluate answer scripts of the students, I make it a point that I don't read the name. I only evaluate this answer script on the merit of what is written, and I avoid knowing who has written it. That is very important. You have to be very fair when you are grading all the students. Give them their credit, appreciate the best ones, encourage the mid segment, and motivate the lower ones. So as an teacher, if you can bring the level of the class to a next level, to the higher level, you are on the right track. That is what you should focus on next. So this slide I have just shared. It is Bloom's taxonomy. You can take a minute and read this slide while I rest my throat for a few seconds. Just go through this slide. I hope you all can read it. So read it. So try and understand this slide. The students will be at the lower or at the bottom of the scale. As an educator, you have to progressively take them higher, from remembering to understanding, from understanding to application, from application to analyze, from analyzing to evaluate, and from evaluating to create. So if your sessions fall in this triangular factor, bringing the students from lower order thinking to middle order thinking to the higher order thinking, you will find that the students will be very appreciative of your class. They will definitely, you know, fight to attend your sessions. Next. Now let us take a look at what are some of the factors that affect the pedagogy. Learning style of the students. Each student is, as I said, coming from diverse backgrounds. They are used to learning in a different method, in a different process, and their styles will vary. So your method cannot be one fixed way. You have to inculcate multiple methods of learning. Yeah. To ensure that all the students are engaged at some point or the other. Other times, there can be a healthy interaction in the class. Your competence as an instructor is also a crucial factor when you select the pedagogy. How competent you are, how comfortable you are using a particular method. If you are not confident of a particular method, please practice, gain confidence, and then start. Test out the process. If you want to, if you are used to teaching on a blackboard and you suddenly want to use the PowerPoint, please practice the PowerPoint 2 or 3 times before you open it in a class. Make sure that in front of your audience, you are not found to be lacking in the required skills. You are not able to open the presentation, or something else is displayed on the screen which you are not controlling, or which you are not able to control. I have seen such instances happening where the personal photographs of a faculty was suddenly started to be displayed on the screen rather than the presentation, and frantically he was trying to close the screen, but that also was not happening. Technical errors can happen, but it is best to be practiced. You also look at what additional resources you are having. What are the different kinds of resources that is available to you, which you can make use of. Whether you have an OHP, whether you have a, you know, smart board. If you have a smart board, you can access the internet. That is also an ability. And also what your education system wants you to do. That is also a key player in telling you what pedagogy you should use. If your education system insists on a lot of written work, then you must either address it in the classroom or as homework. So it depends on assignments or whatever. And obviously, the subject that a person is studying will have a role play in deciding the pedagogy. If it is a skill based subject, there would be a lot of demonstrations. If it is a theoretical based subject where a lot of concepts are being used, you can have case studies and discussions and webinars or seminars and address the sessions. So depending on field of study, taking as an example, if somebody is teaching economics and say somebody is teaching bricklaying or civil engineering, the pedagogy may differ. It may not be the same for different streams. So we'll move on. Next slide, madam. Yeah. Now I want all of you to, first understand what kind of a learner you yourself are. You can also learn what are the different types of learners who are there in your classroom. So students can be a visual learner. It can be a read write kind of a learner. It can be a auditory learner. It can be a kinesthetic learner. It can also be a learner who learns by games and so on. So there is a link which I have put on the slide. You can, take down that link, take a photo of the link if you want. In this link, there is a small quiz which will help you to find out what kind of a learner you are, and you can also try it out on your students, and you can find out what kind of learners the students are. So once you are aware of what kind of learners form the classroom, then you can plan the pedagogy in accordance to that, where you are able to reach out to every different type of learner in your classroom. Next slide, please. Yeah. So as said, again, I am sharing the same thing. What are the different types of learners? There's a visual who learns by seeing pictures and images. There's an auditory learner who prefers to learn by hearing. The verbal learner who talks and writes. There is a kinesthetic learner who does learning by doing things, using tools and other things. Some people are very focused on numbers and mathematics. They learn by, making two and two together. There's a social learner who needs the group, or, they discuss and learn. And there is a solitary learner who wants or prefers to learn alone. So please identify what is your learning style. You can get intimation or find out of your students also and practice that. Next. Yeah. Now I am just sharing few things here. The learning theories. I am not going to discuss this in a lot of detail, but broadly, we need to understand what are the theories. There are behaviorism theories, cognitivism theories, and constructivism theories. The behaviorism focuses on the individual's interaction with the environment. Cognitivism focuses on the mental processes of the brain, where you think that the learner is like learner's brain is like a computer and it processes the data. So you keep feeding data and you expect it to get processed. And constructivism focuses on the reflection and active processing of new information. So you have some information, you build on that. Next. So here again, I am sharing. There are one more theory which I have included here. So what exactly these theories do? Behaviorism, where there is direct instruction or program, or social learning. Cognitivism, it goes to the attribution, where you attribute to particular concept, where you elaborate on something, where there is cognitive development, which I already shared, like processing of data, and where you condition of learning. You give certain, fixed conditions and you push into it. Humanism is experiential learning. This is a system which is gaining more popularity in today's date, learning by doing. And constructivism can be any of the so many different theories where you have some information and you build on it, like case based learning by doing apprenticeship, discovering, problem based, solve problems, situation based activities, and social development. All this can be under constructivism, where you have a foundation and you keep building based on the method that you are applying. Next. Yeah. So again, I want all of you to just read what is there on the slide. uh, I have put the broad theories of learning, along with the andragogy and the main authors who have put forth these theories. So in case you need, you can, any particular theory which you are interested, you can take up this slide as a thing, and from there you can read more. So I am giving you a minute's time to go through this slide. This is just an explanation of my earlier slide, what each theory does. So please just read through this slide, and then I will move on to the next one. Here, all the concepts are mentioned. Who are the main persons who have put forth? What is the key concept, or what is the key theory all about, and what is the role of a teacher if they are using any one of these theories? Ideally, you should be able to use all of these theories at different levels and different times. So, are we ready to move on to the next slide? Yeah, ma'am, please put the presentation on again. Hello, madam. Ma'am, are you there? I'll just, try and share the presentation from my screen. Give me a second.
So sorry, sir. There was a small interruption.
Yeah.
It's a heavy raining over here, so
Huh?
I had a
Yeah, yeah,
small.
I'll try to share the presentation from my side, madam. Let me see. Just give me a minute. I'll wait. Yeah, can you see the slide now?
Yes, sir, it's visible, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So uh, now you can see here, we will quickly look at what are the different approaches to the learning theories, whether you want to use this or not. So if you keep a pedagogy, I said there are 5 broad theories you will find here. Constructivist, where there is a basic concept and you build on that. Collaborative, where you put 2 or 3 or more points together and come out with some input. Reflective, where you need to think, you need to use your brain. So it's like even you can say some case studies are reflective, where students have to use their imagination and come out with solutions. Inquiry based, where you ask questions and you start searching for answers. And an integrative one, which can integrate any of the above different learning theories. I am again moving to the next slide. Yeah. So here again we can see what each of this approach actually works for. So, and how it is focused. Like a constructive approach is student centered, it builds on past knowledge. A reflective approach is a model approach for the trainee and trainers. It is based on outcomes, involves timely reassessment. A collaborative approach involves teamwork, so you can have multiple groups, so you can use different teaching practices. An integrative approach integrates the classroom with multiple methodology or the outside world, makes the curriculum more realistic and relatable to what happens in practice. So it is more found in mathematics and science. And an inquiry based is student centered again. It generates curiosity, helps in developing problem solving skills. It can be of 4 types, as I said. You confirm a outcome, or you make a structure. It can be guided to reach to a particular output, or it can be open ended, where you are not sure of the outcome and you are welcome to reach wherever the class goes. So again, moving on, the role of pedagogy. These are some of the additional learning resources that you can use to learn more about teaching pedagogy. Adult learning. So you can take a picture of this slide and you can also read through this different works. I am just putting it on for a minute or so, and then I'll move on. Yeah. Now you come to the next slide here. So what are the strategies of collaborative learning? So you can pair students so that they can think, pair, and share. You can catch up, get questions, and it's a classroom where groups ask each other and come to some solution. It can be a team-based learning where you make teams. It can be a case study, and it can also be a fishbowl debate. Where it's open market, like a fish market. When you see one, where each person is vying for his or her own place. Now you see this slide here. Here I have put, again you can see the triangle, and there are, on the right side, if you see, there is something called active, there is something called passive. So in this slide, it is exactly the reverse of what we saw in the earlier one, where we were leading the students from the bottom to the top. Here, we need to move from the top to the bottom. We need to move from passive learning process to the active learning process. So we need to minimize lectures, reading, audiovisual and demonstrations, and we need to get into discussions, learning by doing, and we need to have students teach the other students. So you see here, when you give a lecture, the retention is about 5%. Whereas when a student is teaching other students, the retention is about 90%. So as teachers, it is our interest to, have an audience which learns 90% or more. And for that, we have to involve them in the active learning process. So remember, the traditional teaching methods of lectures, reading and all are getting obsolete, and we are working on modern teaching methods, which includes discussion, learning by doing, practicing, and teaching others, which is mostly kinesthetic and involved with virtual reality. Now, as a trainer, what are the academic skills or pedagogical skills that you need? Traditionally, a teacher wanted communication, adaptability, collaboration, inclusivity, and compassion. If a teacher had all this, they were a good, teacher. But today you need a lot more. You need to be a technology enthusiast. You should be on at best as good with technology as the generation Z and the newcomers are. You need to be innovative and creative. You must have a social, cycle and a social presence. You must be geek enough to understand the modern lingo and be able to use it. You should be ready to face questions, awkward questions also. There should be an element of storytelling. You should be very tolerant to the class. Sometimes the generation is little cheeky. They feel they are very bold. They can ask and they can talk a little bit in a different way. We may even find it disrespectful, but we have to adjust. You have to be organized and you have to be well prepared for every session, and there must be a commitment. As a faculty, you must have a commitment to you, towards yourself, towards your students, towards your organization. If all this is there, you can be a good trainer. I will just share a few more points, and we are almost coming to the end of this session. So how do you improve your pedagogical skills? You need to review the student evaluations, discuss this with your colleagues. You attend conferences and sessions like this. You keep up with the studies. You can, refer to the studies I have shown, and many more are there. Ask your organization to give you additional training. Please update yourself with new technology and gadgets, whatever is coming, you have to keep updated. So once you are able to do that, your teaching skills and your value will also improve. How do you use these skills? Again, don't hesitate in communicating. Be proactive. Try different styles, but first practice. Allow students to, design or develop the assignments. Include students in your classroom. Make it participative. Give them space and opportunity to discuss and express their own thoughts. Identify the learning traits of the students and facilitate learning. You remember the earlier slide where I had Bruce Lee on the picture, and it mentioned, a teacher is not one who gives you the truth. So you be like the guide, you be like the light in the tunnel, point out the road to the student, let each student take his or her own road and find out his or her own truth, because the learning will not be the same for all. Life is not equal. Every student who completes a course does not perform the same way in the market. So they each adapt to different roles as per their learning, and that is their truth. What are the innovative teaching methods? I have shared few here. Project based, flipped classrooms. You can make crosswords and quizzes, multiple choice questions, experimentation learning, activity based, project based, simulation, virtual labs, blended learning, anything. And this is just a gist. There are obtained number of methods for you to check out as you can get and go ahead. I am just sharing now what is the noteworthy process here. You set your learning objectives as per the course. Instruction delivery process must be clear. You have the entire learning activities, evaluate it, take the feedback, and repeat this cycle so that you also improve after each chapter. It can be for each credit, it can be for the entire course. Okay, now the last few points as a tip. What is an icebreaker? Generally start the class with something interesting so that the students are alive in the class. Every session must be based on win. This session was also based on win. If you remember, I had told you what is this session all about, the objectives. I had shared some interest on this session. The interest should be both personal and professional, and the need for this session. What is it going to help you about? Plan your delivery, have it structured, break it into easy steps so that understanding is reinforced. At the end of the session, always check for understanding, stimulate, engage the students, evaluate, and summarize. So keep your energy levels high. Don't be predictable every day. You should not be doing the same thing in the classroom. So do things little differently. Use your innovation, thought, be innovative, be creative, involve the students, and ask the students to come forward and lead the sessions. So be honest and passionate, accept your limitations, learn from students, make it a lifelong learning, acknowledge the achievements, celebrate in groups, and reprimand in person. Keep yourself updated, keep doing research, prepare for every session as though it is the first time you are doing it. Be prepared and expect the unexpected, then you will not face a lot of surprises. So that is the most important point of this session. With that, I have come to the end of this presentation. I am open to questions.